Vav. We're holding by the Mishnah now. So before we start the Mishnah, we have to know, first of all, we had this entire sugya, word for word, but we have to know the machlokes in Masechtas Pesachim. Machlokes is dam afal pi she'ein basar or ein basar ein dam. Meaning, machlokes. If there's, in order to do zrika, is it required to have basar left over, or even if all the basar disappears, it all becomes tameh, you can still do zrika. Machlokes Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Yeshua says, ein basar ein dam. If you don't have meat, you don't have a zrika. Says the Mishnah, and when we see the Mishnah, you'll remember that we learned this. Nitmu shi'areh, nisrfu shi'areh, of the shi'areh. 3 cases. The first one, what's the first case? Nitma, became tameh, or burnt, or got lost. Kemidas Rabbi Eliezer. Anybody remember that word? That lashon. Kemidas Rabbi Eliezer. Like the machlokes he had in Masechtas Pesachim, where over there he paskined dam afal pi she'ein basar, I could do zrika even though there's no meat. So over here also, I could do kmitza even though there's no shirayim. It's the same machlokes. Ksheiro ukemidas Rabbi Yeshua. Just like Rabbi Yeshua says in Pesachim, ein basar ein dam. In order to do zrika, I need basar. So over here, in order to do kmitza, I need shirayim, psulo, makter. I have the kmitza, right? In order to be makter. Omer Rav. So now Rav goes into Rabbi Yeshua. V'hu shenitmu kol shi'areh. When does Rabbi Yeshua say that I cannot do haktorah on the kmitza when it's tameh? When the entire shirayim is gone, it became tameh. Now, what word did he use? He says, "V'hu shenitmu kol shi'areh." He's only talking about case number 1, nitma. Says the Gemara, "Avo mixes shi'areh loy." However, if there's a little bit of shirayim left over, where my haktorah could apply to it, then it's okay, because I have a little bit shirayim. When Rav says the word tameh, he's coming to exclude the other 2 things in the Mishnah, avad v'saruf, that even if there's a little left over, if some of it got burnt, it's too bad, you can't do any haktarah. So Gemara says, how does that make any sense halachically? Maika sovar, ika sovar shira milsehi. If you tell me that a little bit left over is enough, it's in order to do a haktarah, you don't need the entire thing, even a little bit left over. Afilu avad v'saruf nami. So then what's the difference how you have a little left over? If it's because it became tameh and you have half of it left over, let's say, or it burnt out and you have half left over. At the end of the day, I have a half a bowl of shirayim left, and I could do haktorah based on it. Ikasover shir lav milsi, and if you hold that it's not significant enough, but there's a difference by tuma. What happened here? You have a whole bowl of shirayim. Let's say 25% of the bowl became tameh. So we're saying that 75% is not enough to do haktarah. So then why is it okay?
How is that possible?
Let's say it's separated. But even without that, we said, halachically, I don't know if you remember, when we were discussing tumah, if you touch one part of a mincha, l'chayra, the rest doesn't become tameh. Anything immediately next to it becomes tameh, a rishon. Everything immediately after that becomes a sheni. Eventually it stops. Because they're all separate pieces. It's particles. Only if you say tziruf kli, which we did.
Only klicheres.
No, only klicheres is avir. Okay. So then what would be the reason that by tuma it's different? V'nitma my taima. Why? The meratzet sits. Oh.
Where does the sentence end?
It doesn't end. It's a ever-going sentence. It goes like this. What is the reason? The meratzet sits. It's because you say that the tzitz comes in, and you need to come in. You need to just come in. We need such a thing in our share. No, with that. Shalom Aleichem. Oh, Tazai, come all the way here. Yeah, okay, now you can go. Fine. He's back. By the way, he came to the Siyum, and that was the last we saw him. Now, so what's the svar over here? The svar is because there's a tzitz. The tzitz in Miratza, the 25% that became Tameh, and now I have 100% of the bowl left over for me to do Kmitza. Yachi kol shira nami. So then what's nafka mina if 25% became Tameh or 100% became Tameh? Even if 100% of the bowl became Tameh, I could have Ritzui through the tzitz, and now I have a whole bowl that I do Aktar on. At the end of the day, all I need is just a little bit. As the Gemara is going to say soon, even one kezais is enough for me to do the Aktara. So what was your question? So then how come you don't apply that same svara to Avod and Sarov? Says the Gemara, you do. He didn't mean nitma and not Avod v'Sarov. He chapped the first. He took the first word in the Mishnah, nitmu shi'arel. It means the entire Mishnah.
It should be b'chulei.
Right, exactly. Kedesan Rabbi Shua himself, who says that ein dam, ein basar, ein dam, which means by us also, ein shirayim, ein kmitza, there's no aktara, but he says mefurish, Kedesan Rabbi Shua Omer, kol zvach she'atoy shenishtayir mem kezayis, basar, kezayis chaylev, all you need is one kezayis left over, zorek es adam. So when he says that you can't do Zrikas Adam, it's because there's zero left over. Now, what about Kechatzi Zayis Basar v'Kechatzi Zayis Chaylev? Basar is something that you eat, Chaylev is something that the Mizbeach eats. Those two things are not mitzdaref. Ein Zorikas Adam, it's not enough. U'ba'oila, that everything goes in the Mizbeach, Hafilu Kechatzi Zayis Basar, Kechatzi Chaylev, Zorikas Adam, V'pnei Shekula Kolil. That's considered one achila, it's mitzdaref.
As long as there's anything left, you can still.
As long as there's one kezayis left by oila, then a chatzi and a chatzi is mitzdaref, because by oila it's all goes on the mizbeach. There's no human consumption. So chaylev and basar have the same halacha. They're both for the mizbeach. Ube mincha, afilu kulo kayemes loy yizroik. If you have a mincha, you have a mincha soilas, and the entire thing is there, you shouldn't do Zrikas Adam. Ask the Gemara, does a mincha have dam? What's going on here? Noam, you're looking at me as if you never saw this Gemara before. We had this Gemara word for word on Daf Tes. Daf Tes or Yud Beis, I don't remember anymore. Mincha Mayavita. Where does mincha? Mamish. Omer HaPapan over there, it was Omer HaPapan. Minchas Nesachim. So it's talking about a Minchas Nesachim. Since the Nesachim comes together with the carbon, you're right, there's not a single piece of meat left over. There's no kezesim left over. But I have the whole mincha left over, so maybe that mincha should give me the right and the permission to throw the blood. Because it comes together, Kamash Malan, that the mincha doesn't help us out. End the sugya. Minani Mili, how do I know that a kezayis chaylev is enough to do Zrikas Adam? Omer Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Yishmael, Umatu Ba Mishum Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya, Omar Kro. Now, in order to see this pasuk, in order to understand what's going on here, you just have to look at the side and read the whole pasuk from the beginning. It says in the beginning, the first pasuk brought down on the side of the Gemara, V'zorak HaKoyen Es Adam. There was Zrikas Adam. Then the end of the pasuk says, V'hikter HaChelev L'Reach Nichoyach L'Hashem. Says the Gemara, V'hikter HaChelev L'Reach Nichoyach L'Hashem. Without the beginning, you don't understand what's going on here. V'hikter HaChelev, Chelev Afa Pishein Basar. You could do Zrikas Adam even though there's Chelev. It says Mefurish in the beginning of the pasuk. V'zorak HaKoyen Es Adam. How? Through the Chelev. V'ashkechon Chelev. Yiseres Shtei Klois Min. And this is interesting. This is interesting how you read this. It says Ashkechon Chelev. Yiseres Shtei Klois Min. Diktani u'bemincha afilu kula kayemes liYizroik. In other words, the Gemara stops for a second and sticks in. You assume that the diaphragm and the kidneys are good for blood. But how do I know that? How do I even assume that? Diktani u'bemincha afilu kula kayemes liYizroik. Since it says Dafke by mincha, if you have the whole mincha, you don't do zrika. Mincha de la Yisrael, Yisrael, and now here the Gemara finishes off the question. Minalan. How do I know it? How do I know that shtei kloyos is good enough? If you have zero meat left over, all the meat became tamei, got lost, but I have two little kidneys that I'm going to put on the mizbeach as imurim. How do I know that I can do zrikas adam? Anything that you put on the mizbeach, including the kidneys. At the end of the day, asks the Gemara, if it says in the pasuk l'reach nichoyach, then why do I need chaylev? Chaylev is a reach nichoyach. It should be included in reach nichoyach. Just say reach nichoyach. Says the Gemara, simple to because of chaylev, havamino chaylev in yiseres shtei kloyis loy. I would think something more edible, but shtei kloyis not. Because rachmana reach nichoyach. Because rachmana l'reach nichoyach, havamina afilu mincha. I would think anything that's a reach nichoyach, a mincha also goes up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because rachmana chaylev, it has to be a meat. So now we have a new Mishnah.
That even the mincha, if it remains, or even by a mincha?
No. I would think that a mincha you could put the blood, kamash malon not. Says the Mishnah. Now we're going to discuss, we could go to this chart. Once we did the chart, we managed to get the most use out of it. And I actually found an interesting thing today. Here's the chart, right? These are the steps. Some of the steps. By the way, what is missing from this chart? I think I missed a step, a very, very important step. I'll give you a hint. It's somewhere over here.
Make sure it's in your right hand.
Very good. There's no halicha. What do you see? What do you see halicha here? It's one of the four avodas, and it's not in here. I told Levi, I said, take this to the mizbeach. I told him that. Agasha is not halicha. It's putting. You're standing in one place and you're putting it on the mizbeach. Where's halicha? Fine. You have to take it to the mizbeach. From the kmitza to the halicha, it has to resemble the four avodas. Shchita, kabbalah, hilacha, zrika. So you need a hilacha. First you're doing kmitza, which is like shchita. Then you do kabbalah. You put it in a kli, and that's what we're going to discuss right now. We're talking about right over here. Number 10 is kmitza, and after kmitza, what happens? You put it inside a kli. Again, in other words, likulei alma, you put the everything in a kli to start out with, right? That was the number 2, whatever it was over here. Start out with kli soilas al shemen. You have to put it in the kli to kaddish the mincha like that. However, there's another step that we know about. There's a step that you, after the kmitza, you take the kmitza, you put it again into a kli to get more gedusha into a kli sharis. Do you need that kli or don't you need the kli? That's what we're going to be discussing. Says the Mishnah. Shaloi b'kli sharis. It starts out like in the middle of a sentence. Basically, it means after you did kmitza, you forgot to put it into kli sharis. You didn't put it in a kli sharis. Pasol. The Tanna Kama says it's pasol. Rabbi Shimon machshir. Rabbi Shimon says you don't have to put it into kli sharis. Now we're going to see in the Gemara 3 shitos. What are the 3 shitos? Rabbi Yehuda says if you don't put it in a kli sharis, you still have to use your right hand. Rabbi Yanai says you don't have to use anything. You don't have to use any hands. Even a left hand is good. Even your garment is good. Comes Rav Nachman and says no. What Reb Shimon said that I don't need a kli, he meant to say that after I do step number 11, I put it into kli shares. After the kmitza, I put it into kli shares. Then I can remove it from there. Whereas the Tanna Kama holds it has to remain in the kli shares until the mizbech you pour it out of the kli shares. Those are the 3 shitas. Let's see them inside. Omer Rabbi Yehuda b'rei Rabbi Chia. Now, does anybody remember this name? Omer Rabbi Yehuda b'rei Rabbi Chia. We just had where? Who?
Second part of the Mishnah.
When do we have Rabbi Yehuda b'rei Rabbi Chia?
Before that, Rabbi, read the mincha.
Oh, sorry, that part. Yeah, that's not an important part. Excuse me. Hikter kumtza pa'amayim ksheira. Got in the way. It got in the way because we're starting. Sorry. Hikter kumtza pa'amayim ksheira. If you perform the koimetz twice, and we're going to see in the Gemara Machlokes if it's literally only twice, or it means even 3-4 times, instead of doing one whole kmitza, I did that kmitza 2 times. Am I yoytze or not? Fine. Now, if you remember, we had, where was it? It was on the bottom of, Daf Yomi Menachos, we had Ashkechinu lebnei Rebbe Chia And over there we said the sons of Reb Chia, he had twins. One was Yehuda and one was Chizkiah. It's interesting. I mean, also you start paying attention to these names. Oh, Reb Yehuda Berei Reb Chia. One of the twins, Reb Yehuda, the son of Reb Chia, said, "My time in the Reb Shimon or Makro Kodesh Kadoshim he kachatas v'cha'asham." If you recognize the sugya, yeah, it's because we had it 5 times. What does Reb Shimon hold? And we always said it was Reb Shimon that says this. It says in the Torah that a mincha is like a chatas and like a asham. How could it be both? Says Reb Shimon, it depends. Balav the biyad or the biyamin kachatas. If you want to do it with your hand, then it has to be with your right hand, like a chatas. Just like a chatas is biyamin. Remember the whole sugya of etzba, kuhuna, etzba vikuhuna. Fine. Chatas has to be biyamin. However, if you're doing it bikli, or the bismal ka'asham. So what comes out here? If you do it with your hand, it has to be with your right hand. So that's Rabbi Yehuda Shita. Rabbi Yehuda holds, Rabbi Shimon says you don't need a kli after you do the kmitza. However, you definitely need the right hand. Rabbi Yanai Omar, kivin shekamotzoi mikli shareis mahaleu umaktiroi afidu behem yonoi. Says Rabbi Yanai that according to Rabbi Shimon, you don't need any hand. I could use my shirt. I could use whatever I want. Va'afilu b'mekido shel cheres. I could use even a cheres. Now.
The bowl that he puts it in initially, or the bowl?
No. We're talking about the bowl in step number 11. After the kmitza. Initially, lekula alma, you need a kli sharis. We're just talking about what happens after the kmitza. Do you need to put in the kli sharis? You can need to put in the kli sharis. Says Rabbi Yanai, he's the well, we'll see in a second. He holds that it could be even in your shirt. Now, this is for Chaim Kornblut, because he asked for shtickle yeshiva shatayr once in a while. We'll go real quick. If you're putting it in your shirt, what about the fact that the kohen is not holding it? Why is that not considered chatzitza? It's not a kli. He's using a shirt. It's a glove. Says the Briskerov. The Briskerov brings his father Reb Chaim. Just this. Briskerov brings Reb Chaim that from here you see in it's pashut. If you learn the sugya, they didn't even need Reb Chaim. I asked some people, they told me this is pashut. This is how they learned. You see from here that if you could do it with your left hand, you could do it with no hand. You don't need a kohen. It doesn't mean you don't need a right hand and you can do it with your left hand. Left means nothing. Left means I could even do it with your shirt. There's no chatzitza here. That's the brisk. That's Reb Chaim.
You know that left.
The Chazanish.
Left lives matter. You know that. Right?
Fine.
What's the state in it?
The Chazanish says a very interesting thing here. What?
What's the state in it?
No, there's no tzvei dinim. Yeah, here's tzvei dinim. The Chazanish says very nice. Chazanish says, if you put on a piece of cloth on your hand, like a glove, that's chatzitza. But there's a Gemara in Sukkah that says that if you wrap your lulav with a piece of cloth, that's okay, according to Rava. Why? Because he says, what's the lashon? Lekicha yidid davar acher shmei lekicha. Says the Chazanish that over here it's talking about that he took the mincha with the cloth. It wasn't that he was protecting his hand. That was a kli for the mincha. That's another way of taking it. There's a way of taking it with your hand. There's a way of taking it with the kli. There's no chatzitz on that, says the Chazanish.
How does he get a full kmitza if he's got the cloth in the way of what he's doing with kmitza?
No. After he did the kmitza, he puts it into his shirt.
Why does the kmitza? He has the cloth in his hands.
No, he puts it in afterwards. He put it in afterwards. It's not a problem. Fine. Here's the third shita. So far we have Rabbi Yehuda that says you have to do it with your right hand. We have Rabbi Yanai that says you could do it with anything, even with a cloth, no hand. Now we have Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Omar Hakol Moedim B'Koymet Sheton Kiddush. No, Reb Shimon agrees that's step number 11. After you do the kmitza, you're required a kli sharis. What does Reb Shimon say? That from that point on, you can remove it from there. I could bring it to the mizbech and put it on the mizbech with my hand, but I definitely need a kli sharis. He's the most machmir, Rav Nachman. So now the Gemara is going to ask a series of questions on these shitas. Meisvei, a question on Rabbi Yehuda that says that you need to do it with your right hand. It says if I bring the chaylev and the ivarim and the wood for the ma'aracha, I could do it with my right hand, with the hand. I could do it with a kli, bein biyamin, bein bismar. There's no difference how I do it. Ksherim. Now, coming to our sugya, hakoymetz, v'aktoris, v'alavoino. It says ktoris here. We're going to see soon. Hakoymetz v'aktoris v'alavoino shehelon. Over here it says bein biyad, even with your hand, bein bikli, bein biyamin, bein bismar. It says with your hand and with your left hand. And Rabbi Yehuda says, with your hand has to be with your right hand. So what do? It says smile. Ksherim, to yufta the Rabbi Yehuda, b'rei the Rabbi Chia. This is a big kash on Rabbi Yehuda. Oh, Rabbi Yehuda, b'rei the Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Yehuda, if he really wanted to, he could be doichik. It's a big tchak, but it's not that it's not a checkmate. There's a way out of it. You're all going to cringe, but there's a little bit of a way out of it. L'tzdadin katani. It's not written exactly like you think it's written. It says like this: biyad biyamin. You have to put a new word in here. If it's biyad, then it's only biyamin. But if it's bikli, bein biyamin, bein bismal. What did it say? It said bein biyad, bein bikli, bein biyamin, bein bismal. No, he says no. It's saying two things: biyad biyamin, bikli, bein biyamin, bein bismal. I know you don't like it, but it's worse maybe. Okay, now a kasha on Rav Nachman. What does Rav Nachman say? That I need to put it into a klishares right after the kmitza. After that, I can do whatever I want. Tashma. K'matzah shalemi klishares. If I did kmitza without a klishares, or v'kitchoy shalemi klishares, or after the kmitza, I put it into a non-klishares. V'hela v'ktir shalemi klishares, pasul. That's our Tana Kama. It says Mefurish, the Rebbe Shimon of our Mishnah says that after the Kmitza I could put it into any Kli I want. Reb Nachman says I have to put it into Kli Shares, and then after that remove it. Over it says Mefurish, I could put it into any Kli. It doesn't say Kli Shares, B'matan Kli. Almost what you were saying before, that you put it into any Kli, and that's enough, kind of. Says the Gemara, Eimo mimatan Kli ve'elech. Again, a shtikol doichak, you have to say, it means, Reb Shimon says, first you put it into a kli sharis, and from that point on, you can put it into any kli you want. But obviously, the Tanakama holds that I have to use a kli sharis from beginning to end. After the kmitza, I put it into kli sharis, and never leaves the kli sharis. Tashma.
What classifies something as kli sharis? It has to be
Oh yeah. They were kaddish it. And that kli sharis, whatever you put into it gives whatever you put into it a kedusha. It's mekadosh. Moishach. Yeah. This is gonna okay. V'chacham moimrim. Did I skip anything? Toshma. V'chacham moimrim koimetz ton kli sharis. You have to do the kmitza from within a kli sharis. Everybody agrees that. Keitzad koimetz mikli sharis umekatche mikli sharis. Over here's the shita that you have to put it into a klisharis. Umalu maktira biklisharis. You have to go all the way through with the klisharis. Reb Shimon oimer kivin shekamatz miklisharis malu maktir shelo biklisharis. Vidayoy. So over here's the same kind of question we had a second ago. Over here it seems like that Reb Shimon holds you don't have to put into klisharis. It says mefurish shelo biklisharis. Says the Gemara, Eimo kivin shekamatz bikisha biklisharis malu maktir vidayoy. You have to stick in. No, Reb Shimon agrees they have to put it into klisharis. From that point on, Reb Shimon argues. Tashma. Comments be yaminoi v'nosam b'smoiloi yachzir li yaminoi. Kishmak. If I did a kmitza with my right hand and I put it into my left hand, what do? I put it back into my right hand. B'smoiloi. What if it's still in my left hand? V'chish v'leh beim chutz l'mokoim beim chutz l'mokoim beim chutz l'zmanoi posel beim beikaris. Very interesting halacha. Hard to understand. What?
It's probably a good rate on this.
Yes. Well, this is raid, I guess. This Machlekes Rishonim had to learn this. It's very difficult to understand Rashi. What happened? He put the koimetz in his left hand, and now what's the left hand? Nothing. It's no good. What? Kmitza with the right, puts it in his left. What status does his left hand have? Nothing. So now if he does a machshavas pigul, it's nothing because it's in the wrong place. But wait a minute, if it's nothing, so then why is it puzzle? It should be kosher. It's a major problem with Rashi. If the left hand is nothing, pretending it's on the floor, how could I have a mechshavas pigul when it's on the floor? That's why the Shita says it's talking about that he had this machshava by kmitza. The Chazon Ish wants to say Pshat and Rashi that he was doing halacha. He was actually doing one of the avodos with his left hand, and memela there's a psul here. Fine. It says pasal bein bekaros. Chishav alei chutz l'mkoymei pasal bein bekaros chutz l'zmanoi pigul b'chayim malav karos. Sorry, what happened there? Oh, there's a chishav alei chutz l'mkoymei. It's talking about that he put it back in his right hand. Aleph. Yeah, biminoi. You have to put in the word biminoi. If he put it back in his right hand, then chishuv alei chusam koimoi, and he thought about, now there's a regular pigul. He thought about chusam koimoi, it's possible in cars. Like every pigul that's chusam makoim, there's no cars. Chusam zmani pigul v'chayim olav cars. But if it's the real pigul, what we call pigul, is chayiv cars, the Rebbe Lezer Rebbe Shimon. The chachamim oimrim, kivin shenesore l'smoyel pasaltu matnasoy. Chacham say, once you put it into the left hand, there's no going back. There's no, you can't do tshuva over here. You can't put it back into the right hand. It's as if it fell on the floor. It's as if kabbalas hadam. Let's say, let's go like this. By shchita, we understand if somebody shechs an animal and the blood falls on the floor, you can't go and pick it up from the floor. So if over here, if you did kmitza and put it on the floor, or put it in his left hand that's like the floor, you can't pick it up. There's no returning back. There is one way you could go back. If you put the blood in a klisharis and then it fell on the floor, then you can pick it up. Right? That's what we learned. Like that halacha, you pick up one spoon because it's already in klisharis. Fine. But over here, the kmitza went directly into his left hand. So there's never a klisharis. There's never a proper kabbalah. So memela, I can't do kabbalah anymore. I'm done. According to Chachamim. Let's just finish the raya. My time, mishum the boy kedusha bikli. V'kivin shenasana b'lismol nasa kedam shenishbach mitzaber abeim al haritzpah. It's as if the blood fell on the floor v'asafoy and you gathered it shapasul. Now, Meklad Rebbe Lezer Rebbe Shimon loy bo matan kli. Rebbe Lezer Rebbe Shimon say I can take it from the left hand and put it in the right hand. Obviously, they don't hold that you need matan kli, and that would be a kasha on Rav Nachman who says that you need a matan kli. Right? Again, if Rebbe Lezer says that after Kemitz I put in the left hand, which is similar to putting it on the floor, I could go and pick it up and put it into my right hand. That's because he holds that once you do Kemitz I don't need any more Avodah. I don't need to put it in a Kli. I could pick it off the floor according to Rebbe Lezer and Rebbe Shimon. I could do Kemitz, put it on the floor, pick it back up from the floor, and continue doing my business. Why? Because once I did Kemitz, I'm finished with all my Avodah. All I have to do is put it on the Mizbeach. Chachamim hold that you need a matan bekli. So if I put it in my left hand, it's as if I put it on the floor, and then once I put it on the floor, I cannot pick it up again. So Yufta the Reb Nachman to Yufta. This is a Bam Kasha Reb Nachman who holds that according to Reb Lezer and Reb Shimon, I do need a kli. Since it's so hot here, I'm drying out. Now, the Rabbi Yehuda brother Messiah. What does it say here? It says that if I put it in my left hand, I have to go back to my right hand. Who says that? That's Rabbi Yehuda. That's perfect. Rabbi Yehuda says that after Kmitza, I need a right hand. It's not good to be in the left hand. So Mamela, it makes a lot of sense. I put it in my right hand. But Rabbi Yanai, who says that after Kmitza I could even use my shirt, why in the world do I need to put it in my right hand? Rabbi Yanai, let me tell you to Yufta. It's a very good kasha on Rabbi Yanai. Amalach Rabbi Yanai. I know the Amri Gitana the Hector Velavlitz Doding Tani. Remember we had a brisa that we had to be mamish doichik. We didn't like it. We said it's litzdadim. What did it say in the brisa? The brisa says, "Bein biyad, bein bekli, bein bimin, bein besmoril." I can do whatever I want. That's exactly Rabbi Yanai. So Rabbi Yanai says, "I'm going to hold like that brisa." You have a good kasha from this brisa? No. I have a different brisa that says exactly like me. It says bein biyad, bein bekli. That if it's in my hand, I don't even need a hand. I can do smile.
And I don't know what's done.
And I don't know. It's much better. He says, I don't say tzdadim. Tzdadim was mamish a doicha gadol. I say without tzdadim. The way you read it, that's the way I understood it. Says the Gemara, remember in the Mishnah it says that if you are maktir the koimetz twice, it's okay. Omer Rabbi Shua ben Levi, pamayim v'loi pamei pamayim. You have to read the Mishnah literally. It means up to 2 times, twice. Well, not really literally, but in the way we understand the Mishnah, it's literally. Why? Because if in the Mishnah we're talking about exactly 2 kezesim, so the only way you could be maktir 2 kezesim is if you do twice. Lu yitzuyur, your hand fit 4 kezesim, then the Mishnah would also agree that you can do 4 times. The point is, it has to be kazais per aktara. Rabbi says no, there's no limit, as we're going to see, to how much there's no minimum for haktara. I could be maktir even a less than a kazais. So I could take my koimetz and break it up into 3 different parts and be maktir less than a kazais each time. My benayu. So what is the machloikis? Says the Gemara. The Gemara explains. What we learn from this mission is 2 halachas. Number 1, whether or not there's a shear to kmitza, and is the minimum, if you hold as a shear to kmitza, the minimum would be 2 zaysim. Are you going to ask me a bomb question? We learned once that kmitza there's no shear. Every kohen does however large his hand is. So I would say probably that's the maximum. But on the minimum, you need 2 zaysim. I need 2 kezesim, but if your hand is huge, you can do 7 kezesim. If your hand is very small, like 2 kezesim, you do 2 kezesim. But every kohen is going to do a different shear.
And if you're a tiny kohen with small hands,
I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Zok the Gemara, I'm really going to talk about it. Rabbi Shua ben Levi Sovar ein koimetz pachzim shnei zeisim vein aktor b'chusim kezais. So 2 halachas the Mishnah says. The fact that the Mishnah says that you need 2 kezesim. Why does the Mishnah say you need 2 kezesim? Because you need at least a kezais per aktara. I learned from here that every aktara needs a kezais. Just like human consumption, right? Kezais, on Yom Kippur. What are our shirim? They're always a kezais. So when I put something on the Mizbeach is no different than a person. You have to, when you put something on the Mizbeach, make sure he has a kezais. You want to be yaitze, aktara, make sure he has a kezais. So when the Mishnah says that there's 2 kezaisim, the Mishnah is telling us another chiddush here, that every aktara has to have a kezais. And that's why I could split those 2 kezaisim down the middle and do a koimetz here and a koimetz there. So like this I'll have a kezais and a kezais. But it also tells me that the minimum of my kmitza is 2 kezaisim. Rabbi Yochanan Sovar, yesh koimetz pachzim shnei zeisim, v'yesh aktara b'chusim v'kezais. So Rabbi Yochanan says, I don't need there's no shir for aktara, and therefore I could do more aktaras and I could do less. Now listen to this, Menachos, before you go. You could stay, you could go. La halacha, if you look over here, it says la halacha, there's a daled by ein koimetz pachzim shnei zeisim. La halacha, I need 2 zeisim. I'm answering your question. You have to look it up afterwards.
anyone else want to leave?
Halacha, I need 2 kezesim. Very interesting. So says the Mishnah Melech that if I have a kohen that has a hand that's less than 2 kezesim, he can't perform the avodah. They can't perform the avodah. Not only is he puzzled for kmitza, he's puzzled for all the avodas in the Beis Hamikdash. Says the Kilos Yankiv, this is for you. Yeah. If he can't do kmitza, then he can't do anything. Says the Stipler, wait a minute. If you measure 2 kezesim, almost nobody in our generation could fit 2 kezesim in his hand. Comes out that we don't have any kohanim that are kosher l'avodah. Besides, of course, if you have a very large hand, and maybe a b'char, they'll take a b'char. And what? Oh, so depending on the kezayis, it comes out to about an egg, and it's very hard to put an egg, like over here.
So basically, Trump
should
be a kind.
He has very small hands. I didn't.
But why? Isn't one enough? 1 kezais enough? 2 is if you want to do 2 aktaras.
Right. So exactly. 1 kezais is the size of an egg.
He says that people were much larger.
Yeah, in those days people were much larger.
What kind of egg?
NBA players would we have to be a guy, a couple of these guys.
Size egg.
What's his name? Stoudemire.
No, that's not quail
Stoudemire.
eggs.
Exactly.
Regular eggs, not quail eggs.
Fine.
Manhattan.
Itmar.
Caviar.
Yeshua. How much time?
You have for 5 minutes.
But Yidden
Ten
would
to.
option than the guy.
What?
Yidden would option than the guy.
Were they?
Larger?
We see that.
Not the Meraglim. Not in the. Yeah.
These are exceptions. The average person.
Like we had in Gemara, Hutaya, that they went into the midbar and they saw the Bnei Midbar and their knees were bent and they were walking underneath. Okay, fine. Itmar. Let's finish the daf. Itmar, this is very easy. At what point of the burning of the kmitza are you allowed to eat the shirayim? Do you have to wait until it's completely burned, like you do the chametz on Pesach? Rabbi Chanina Omer, mishemoshel be'or, once it touches. Rabbi Yochanan Omer, mishemoshel, sorry, mishemoshel means that mamish consumes it. Rabbi Yochanan Omer, mishetatzis bo'isur beruboy, the flame is all around it. It's less. I'll explain to you. It says by Zdoim. There's mamish smoke coming out like from the kivshon. Now, in kivshon malakidar, how do you get smoke? It's not the second you light it. It means it's completely consumed. Most of it's consumed. Now, so what? Because don't forget, by mincha it says the word aktorah a bunch of times. By mincha also says v'hikter. V'hikter, and over there it says v'hikter. So just like over there v'hikter means kivshon, so by mincha also kivshon. Your Talmidim say in the name of Rav Amram, Tanya ein li'ela dvarim shedakim likor b'laylo, kigoyin ivarim ubdorim shemalon maktir miboy hashemesh. What does miboy hashemesh mean? Miboy hashemesh means after shkia. So I could take these ivarim and b'dorim, they murim basically, put it on the mizbeach after shkia. U'misaknim v'oilchim kol halayla kula. That's its time for aktoras after night. Dvarim shedakim likor b'yoyim, things that you need to put on the mizbeach in the daytime, kigoyin hakoymetz, valavoyna, v'aktoris, u'minchas koyanu, u'minchas koyim. Over here it says ktoris, it's important to remember. U'minchas nesachim, shemalon u'maktiro miboy hashemesh. You can put it on the mizbeach after dark. Now the Gemara makes a short stop, mamish in the middle of the sentence. We have to clarify what this word miboy hashemesh means before we continue any further. V'amris darkem likorev bayoim. You said specifically that a kmitza, for instance, is daytime. So what are you telling me you put on the mizbeach after day? Elo imboy hashemesh. It's not miboy, it's imboy. It's a different word, meaning a second before shkia. Shemisaklim v'oilchim kol halayla menayin. How do I know that it's okay to put it right before shkia and then it burns the whole night? Fine, I have a riboy, it can burn all night. As the Gemara, if you hold that it has to be burnt, mostly burnt, and you're allowed to put it on the mizbeach 1 second before shkia, in 1 second it's not going to be burnt ruboy. There's a kasha on the mandama who says it has to be burnt ruboy. Loy kasha. Kan likloid, kan lahatir. When I'm talking about putting on the mizbeach, I shouldn't be over on lina. So even if I put it on without it burning completely, as long as I put it on the mizbeach and it touched the fire, I'm not over on lina. But you asked me when I could eat it, eating that has to be completely burnt.
It's a kasha on both, really.
It's not a kasha, it's a pshat. This is a teres.
Before, saying the kasha was really above, because you said the Yochanan was more mako.
Yeah, but maybe the fire could consume it in a second, but it can't burn it up. The fire will encompass the whole thing.
The shita is mako. The Yochanan or the first?
The first one is machmir. That has to be completely.
It's a kasha on both.
No, why? Where does it say that the kasha is on Rabbi Yochanan? It says that I said on the shita that says it has to be completely consumed.
Oh, not on Rabbi Yochanan? That has to be 3/4?
I don't remember the names, but the Tanya, no.
So Chanina and Rabbi Yochanan. Chanina no Mishamash Laba or Rabbi Yochanan Mishamash.
Mishamash Laba, the kasha is on Mishamash Laba, Reb Chanina. Because it means that it has to be completely consumed. Tatzis means that it's just light. So I could understand it lit up in a second. Says the Gemara, he goes back to the original word. That means that he put it on after shkia. How could you put something on after shkia? It's something that belongs in the daytime. Says the Gemara, remember the word poikin? Something that flew off the mizbeach from the heat, from the condensation, it popped off the mizbeach. In other words, he put it on before shkia, but it flew off after shkia, and memela you could put it back on. Umiyomar Rabbi Yani Hachi, V'Amar Rabbi Yani K'toyer Shepakom Al Gam Mizbeach Afilu Krotim Shebayim Achzir Noisan. He says the halacha by K'toyeres, and we mentioned before K'toyeres together with the mincha, that if a big piece, even a big piece fell off the Mizbeach, you don't put it back on. But then Rabbi Chanina ben Minyomi b'Devei Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov v'Shatoich al Eishes ha'oila al Mizbeach Ikuli oila atam machzir v'atam machzir Ikuli K'toyeres. You don't put on K'toyeres. Says the Gemara Nechanami Sami Mikan K'toyeres. According to him, you got to get rid of the word K'toyeres. It's only talking about a mincha. Omer Rabbi Basi. He pushed Rabbi Elazar b'Menachos when Rabbi Elazar was learning Mesechus Menachos Boyahacha. Koimish Sidra v'Sida olav samarocha ma'u. Very interesting halacha. What happens if you put the wood on top of a mincha instead of the mincha on top of the wood? Derech aktor bekach or ein derech aktor bekach teiku. The Chazon Ish says if you put on a mincha on the mizbeach, then you weren't makter it. Where's the aktorah? Putting a mincha on the mizbeach and then putting wood on top of it is not aktorah. So he says maybe it's talking about he snuck it underneath the wood. The wood was there, and the aktorah is when you put it in. Because if you just put it on the wood and then you wait 5 minutes to bring wood, that's not aktorah. Some people say it is aktorah. Fine. Eivarim shesidram v'sida alim hamarocha mau. Same halacha, same shaila about instead of mincha we're talking about eivarim. Alo eitzim amrachman has to be literally on the wood. Davkal eitzim odim lo akim dechsiv krach hirna shetoich al eish esoilo ala mizbeach. Iboy hachi avid. You could do it on the mizbeach directly. You don't have to be on the wood. Take it. Some people read it napacha. Eivarim shesidram v'sida hamarocha mau. What if you put it side by side with the wood, not on the wood? What's the shaila? I'll leave it al ma'amish leiti boilach. This is machlokes when it comes to lechem aponim. Do you put the bezichim because it says al? Do you put it on top of the bread literally, or you put it in between? You know the two rows, and you put it in between on the table. So if you hold, I'll leave it al mamish. If it says you have to put it on the bread, so the al eitzim ksiv, you have to mamish put it on the wood. There's no way out of it. Al alechem and al eitzim is the same thing. Kitiboylach I'll leave it al besomuch. Mai. Over there by lechem aponim al means next to the bread. So over here also maybe it's next to the bread. Hachanami al besomuch. Oydilma al eitzim dumia the al mizbeach. Maybe it's similar to on the mizbeach. Ma'osim al mamish avochanami al mamish teku. Maybe it's like the mizbeach, which it could be next to. Not directly on the wood. Have a great day.
The holder of cards are supposed to be given back to the
what?
The holder of cards is supposed to give it back when you leave.